Hey, this is a daytime number of the beast. I used to go by Kuda Slayer for a while, but kind of decided to change names and kind of just do some different things than before. Um, anyway, it's been a while since I've done a video, and I thought I would just do kind of something a little bit more in depth than usual. Kind of maybe even show a little bit more of what I've been working on as of late. Hopefully you stared at this long enough and don't need that anymore. Oh, good shot. Anyway, as you can see here, this is a building project I've been working on. This is actually going to be used at a local store. And as you can tell, this is rather extensive use of a lot of the City of Death panels and some other materials. Try to give you a little bit more of a looking around. As you can see, it is heavily inspired by most urban settings. I've been trying to do something a little bit more realistic lately, add a little bit more character to different terrain pieces and such. This here is actually kind of semi set up to be either used as, say, like a building on the edge of a gaming table, or actually combined with another building half and make a complete building in the middle of your board. There's a lot of little details I tried putting in here. I guess one of the first things to go over is I did originally put this on a plastic sheet to give it a base, do a road surface on, and then have a high surface for sidewalks and give a foundation to the building, kind of make it look a little bit more realistic. Some of you may probably notice the cars. These were actually from Wargame exclusives, and I've done another video on my other channel on them, and this is just kind of one of the few that I have. Rather a characterful model, if I can say so in my own opinion. Reminds me of some of the old Citroens you see in some old movies and such, and I just think it just adds a lot more character to the finished piece. The bricks here in the foundation, I kind of did that to again add some more character to the building and kind of expand a little bit more on since you don't get too many pieces in many of the City of Death kits or even the super big kits, I wanted to kind of expand them and try to get a little bit more building out of your panels than you normally get. These are actually hand cut from pieces of cork that I use, or I make from one of the production runs I do. It's kind of one of the side perks of my job that I work. Maybe one day I'll go in more detail about how that, what I do for a living, but this is just kind of a way to show how you can take something that's normally thrown away, but you can find a use for it. Like I said, these are cork punch outs. Each one's hand cut to try to make it look like a brick. Since it's kind of a rather ruined building, I wanted to try to make things look a little bit more, like it's still standing, but it's been through quite a lot, and so bricks are loose here or at an angle, or just everything's kind of it's holding on the best it can. One little thing I love doing the little propaganda posters. You can get these online. Do an image search on Google for Warhammer 40k propaganda posters, or just W40k propaganda, and you can get entire sheets of these. This is kind of one of the ones I've used. In the past I've done color, but since I wanted these to look a little more faded, I used a black and white laser printer to print them with, and as you can tell, it's been done over with a little bit of weathering dust, which I might go into a little bit later. Let's see, where should I go next? See, I talked about the cars. On the garbage bags. This is kind of kind of a little bit of an interesting trick, or I should say an idea I saw someone else had on YouTube. I believe the name was TheTerrainTutor. Go give them some love and fave some of their videos. They do a lot of interesting stuff. I had looked at one of their videos they done showed how they did garbage bags, and I kind of liked it, but I didn't think it was practical enough for my taste, so I kind of changed a few things a little. First things first, I took an actual garbage bag, and this is one of the nice big 50-gallon or whatever they are size garbage bags you use for lawn debris, or just if you just go through that much garbage, you know. Anyway, I cut out a piece about 3 by 4, either 3 by 3 or 4 by 4. I kind of did this in a little bit of hurry, so these are not exact. These are not exactly cut as well as I would like them to, but the next step is you want to do some kind of little filler. One of the things I found was using glass marbles. You can get a bag of 50 of these for about $1.50 at Walmart, and but some people would suggest using rocks, green stuff, maybe sand. Green stuff is a little too expensive, my opinion. But I used some of the other leftover bricks or pieces I've used for these for the foundation here. I used them as the base, especially for this batch of garbage bags here. But for all the others, I'd use these glass marbles. Use what works best for you. One of the bad problems with using marbles like this, since they're round, they will not. They may move on you if you try to place them. I'll show you another trick how to take care of that. But one of the things you can do is when you maybe even mix up your materials and use like more squarish shaped filler for the bottom, while using more rounded for the top and such. It's just mix and match and play with it. Anyway, you take a piece of garbage bag, put a marble, and kind of wrap it up like you would wrap a candy. If you're old enough to remember I Love Lucy, I keep thinking about that when I do these, and I've been doing quite a few of these. And the next step is some people would use embroidery thread, or even just regular string. I use floral wire, since it, to my opinion, kind of would be a little stronger, and you almost don't have to put as much force into actually tying it up, and just wrap it around the stem of your extra garbage bag, or whatever you want to call it, and just kind of wrap it around. Get a good couple of loops around that, and you can see I don't have to worry about this unraveling too much. That's kind of one of the reasons why I use the wire. And just a pair of pliers, cut, and then just for extra tightness, I just take the pair of needle nose pliers and just kind of twist it a little. Then pliers again, cut off your excess. And sometimes you may want to pull it down just a little. And just take a pair of scissors, and ta-da! It looks a little cartoony as being as round as it is, and if you really want to be stickler on detail, you can do 2 cuts on the rib, but it's decent. Gets the point across and works well. You can use those markers if you want, like, I don't know, you got a game with zombies or something, you can use these as goals or prize markers or whatever. As you can see, they do roll. Like I said, you can get marbles fairly cheap at Walmart. I think I spent $3 and got about over 100 marbles. So I got enough garbage bags here to cover as many bases as I can. Another thing you may want to think about doing is getting other types of garbage bags, just for mix the color a little, since not all garbage bags are black. This was one of the Walmart bags I'd used. The problem with these is that they're not exactly as thick as the regular garbage bags material is. So I actually would double up, cut a square out, then just stack 2 squares, and then wrap the marble in it. And then here's, I think this is from Hobby Lobby. But you can look around. I'm sure there's other places you can find, other grocery stores that have different colors, like yellow. Try to look around for red. Just mix it up a little. Don't have like a big black blob, which is kind of mainly one of the problems I've been having with some of these buildings. I've been trying to. I really hate how a lot of times when people will do a piece of terrain or something, especially urban, and just leave it as completely black. That kind of really, irritates me a little. And unfortunately, I kind of wound up with kind of a large black mass here. And so it's it doesn't. You want color. You want to have a little variety, and especially when you try to photograph something like this, a lot of times with some cameras it just all blends together. A lot of the coloring I've done on this here, I've used with weathering dust. There's quite a few different types available out there. I think I used a product line called AIM, which you can get like 4 different colors for about $10. I kind of mixed it up a little, tried to add a little bit of variance in one color or another. Let's see, what else is there? Oh, and another little detail I tried adding on this, I want to try to do sidewalks. Try to show things, or show that this is not exactly what the city's never been this ratty all the time. It's actually a long time ago. It might have been a much better place. And right here, I used a lot of tiling shim stock. There's a company called Evergreen Scale Models. They make a very long line of different type of plastic shapes. They got tiled plastic, tubes, I-beams, structural shaped materials. There's just all kinds of stuff, and you just go on the website and they got fairly large amounts of different types of you can use. But here I tried varying a little, also because I tried varying it a little because I wanted to add a little unevenness, but also because I didn't have too many to use at a time. But it's just little things like that can add a lot of character to any model or piece of terrain. And hopefully, when I start working on more of the other buildings for this project, this will I'll do a lot more sidewalks and other little details. Let's see, I think that's really all about talk about this model. I'll show you the other piece I'm working on at the moment. Now, since I'm doing a lot of urban, I decided, well, of course, with cars, you need a parking lot, and so I decided to do a little mini parking lot to give a little more variety to the other buildings I'm working on. These are supposed to be hatches to underground bunkers, which I'm pretty sure a lot of imperial cities would have. All these cars are, I'm just going to put these cars here just to show all the different ones I've been working on. One big problem I'm having with this is that since it is a big piece of black terrain, I'm going to be struggling to try to come up with ways to add a little bit more color to that. But right now, that's just one of my own pet peeves. Of course, this is a PT Cruiser I tried making to a staff car many years ago. It's kind of funny to see. Look, this is a see, it is a 1/34 scale, and as you can tell, with 40K, with the heroic scale, it's kind of hard to really find things that match up with. And this is kind of, I didn't think about it at first, but this is kind of a good example of some of the problems you might have adapting other models to something that's 40K, especially as crazy as the scale is. But let's see. Anyway, this is Daytime Number of the Beast, aka Kuda Slayer. I guess that's enough rambling for me for now. Alright, bye.